The crystal champagne flute shattered against the marble floor, but Elena Ripley didn't hear it break. She only heard the sound of her husband's breathless moans echoing from their bedroom, moans that weren't meant for her. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another heart-stopping story that'll have you questioning everything you think you know about love, betrayal, and revenge. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. Are you Team Elena already, or do you think there's more to this story? And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, smash that button because trust me, you won't want to miss how this unfolds. Elena's Louboutin heels clicked against the imported Italian marble as she approached the mahogany door of the master suite, the same door she'd walked through as a blushing bride 3 years ago. Her manicured fingers trembled as they wrapped around the gold handle, but not from fear. From rage so pure it felt like lightning in her veins. Through the crack in the door, she saw them. Her husband of 3 years, tech billionaire James Corleone, had his hands tangled in the dark hair of their 22-year-old maid, Sophia. The girl Elena had personally hired. The girl she'd trusted to clean their $30 million penthouse. The girl who was now arching beneath Elena's husband on the Egyptian cotton sheets Elena had chosen for their anniversary. But Elena didn't scream. She didn't cry. She didn't burst through the door like a woman scorned. Instead, she smiled. Because Elena Ripley, formerly Elena Zhao, MIT graduate with dual degrees in computer science and business administration, had been waiting for this moment her entire marriage. Not hoping for it, but prepared for it. She pulled out her phone and took exactly 3 photos. Then she turned and walked calmly back to her study, her mind already calculating the destruction she was about to unleash. James had no idea his wife was smart. Really smart. He thought Elena was just a pretty woman who looked good at parties. But Elena had built 2 companies and sold them before she turned 25. She had been watching every single business deal James made. Every account. Every investment. For the past year and a half. And here's the big secret. Elena found out about James's affair 6 months ago. She had been planning her revenge ever since. Elena sat down at her desk and opened her laptop. Her fingers moved fast across the keyboard as she opened secret files. Files that would make the police very happy. James thought he was so smart. He hid his money in secret bank accounts in other countries. He thought his sweet wife would never figure out his business secrets. But Elena knew everything. Every single detail. She started writing a letter. A letter that would change both their lives forever. This letter wasn't just about his affair with the maid. It was about something much worse. Something that would destroy James completely. I only need 24 hours, Elena thought. That's all it takes to tear down everything he built. She could hear James and Sophia upstairs, whispering, moving around quietly. Elena didn't look up from her computer. She just kept typing with a smile on her face. James married her thinking he found a beautiful, quiet wife. A wife who would never ask questions. Never fight back. Never threaten his empire. He was about to learn how wrong he was. The letter was only 3 pages long. But it had enough secrets to destroy big companies. Enough secrets to put James in jail for the rest of his life. All she had to do was send it. But first, Elena wanted to watch him panic. What do you think Elena found out about James? Is he just cheating, or is there something much darker going on? Tell me what you think in the comments. And if this story already has you hooked, smash that subscribe button because Elena's revenge is going to shock you. Elena saved the letter and closed her laptop. She needed to think clearly. She needed to remember exactly how she got here. How she became the woman who could destroy a billionaire with just 3 pages. 5 years ago, Elena Zhao was living in a tiny apartment in Boston. She ate nothing but ramen noodles for dinner. She worked 3 jobs to pay for school. But she had a dream. She wanted to build something that would change the world. Her first company was called SecureNet. She built it in her dorm room when she was 22. It was a cybersecurity program that could protect any computer system from hackers. Big companies started calling her. They wanted to buy her program. When she sold SecureNet for $15 million, Elena thought she was dreaming. But that was just the beginning. Her second company was bigger. Better. It was called Data Shield. This program could track anyone's digital footprint. It could find hidden bank accounts, secret emails, deleted files. When the government started using Data Shield to catch criminals, Elena knew she had created something powerful. Something dangerous. She sold Data Shield for $45 million when she was 24. Here's what I love about Elena's story. She didn't wait for someone to rescue her. She rescued herself. Have you ever had to completely start over and build something from nothing? Drop a comment and share your story. I read every single one. But success came with a price. Elena was rich, but she was lonely. She worked 18 hours a day. She had no friends. No family who understood her world. She went to business parties where men twice her age talked to her chest instead of her eyes. She went on dates with guys who only wanted her money. Then she met James Corleone at a charity event in Manhattan. James was different, or so she thought. He was 35, tall, and handsome. He owned Cortec Industries, one of the biggest technology companies in America. When Elena walked into the room that night, James couldn't take his eyes off her. But here's what made Elena fall for him. James talked to her about business. He asked about her companies. He seemed impressed by her mind, not just her looks. "You built Data Shield?" James had said that first night. "I've been trying to get a meeting with you for months. My security team says your program is like magic." Elena felt something she had never felt before. Someone saw her. Really saw her. They dated for 8 months. James would fly his private jet to Boston just to take Elena to dinner. He would send her flowers with notes about new technology articles he thought she would like. He would call her at midnight just to talk about business ideas. Elena thought she had found her perfect match. A man who was as smart as her, as driven as her. A man who wouldn't be threatened by her success. She was wrong. The moment they got married, James changed. Completely. "You don't need to work anymore, baby," he told her on their honeymoon. "I make enough money for both of us. Just focus on being my wife." At first, Elena thought it was sweet. James wanted to take care of her. But then she realized the truth. James didn't want a partner. He wanted a trophy. A beautiful, smart woman he could show off at parties. Someone who made him look good. "I don't think you should start another company right now," James would say. "We're trying to have a family. You should focus on that." But they weren't really trying to have a family. James was always traveling. Always working. He would come home late and go straight to his office. Elena started eating dinner alone most nights. Then came the rules. James didn't want Elena talking to reporters about her old companies. "It makes people think you're more successful than me," he said. James didn't want Elena meeting with investors or other tech people. "You don't need those connections anymore. You have me." James didn't want Elena using her maiden name for anything. "You're Mrs. Corleone now. That's all that matters." Slowly, carefully, James was erasing Elena Zhao. He wanted to turn her into Elena Corleone, a quiet, pretty wife who smiled and nodded and never asked questions. This is where my heart breaks for Elena. How many brilliant women have been dimmed by men who felt threatened by their light? If you know someone going through this, let them know they're not alone. Share this video with anyone who needs to hear Elena's story. But James made one huge mistake. He underestimated his wife. Elena had learned something important from building her companies. When someone tries to control you, the best thing to do is let them think they're winning. While they get comfortable, you get stronger. So Elena played the part of the perfect wife. She smiled at boring business dinners. She wore the expensive dresses James picked out. She laughed at his jokes even when they weren't funny. She let him think he had tamed the brilliant Elena Zhao. But late at night, when James was asleep, Elena would sneak into her office. She would use her Data Shield program to dig into James's business. At first, she was just curious. She wanted to understand how Cortec really worked. What she found made her blood run cold. Cortec wasn't just a technology company. It was a cover for something much darker. James wasn't just moving money to secret bank accounts. He was washing dirty money for some very dangerous people. Drug dealers. Arms dealers. Even worse. Elena found emails between James and a man named Viktor Petrov, a Russian crime boss who was on the FBI's most wanted list. She found bank records showing millions of dollars being moved from Petrov's accounts through Cortec and into clean American banks. She found contracts for weapons sales to countries that were supposed to be under trade sanctions. She found evidence that James was selling American military technology to enemies of the United States. James Corleone wasn't just a cheating husband. He was a traitor. I'm getting chills just telling you this. Elena thought she married a successful businessman. Instead, she married a criminal who was betraying his own country. Can you imagine finding out the person you trusted most in the world was living a complete lie? 4 months, Elena copied every file, every email, every bank record. She built a case that would send James to prison for life. Maybe even get him executed for treason. But Elena didn't want just to destroy James. She wanted to destroy him the right way. She wanted him to know that his perfect little wife was the one who brought him down. So she waited. She planned. She got everything ready. And then, 6 months ago, Elena found out about Sophia. At first, she was hurt. Then she was angry. But then Elena realized something wonderful. James had just given her the perfect moment to strike. Now, sitting in her office with James and Sophia still upstairs, Elena opened her laptop again. She looked at the 3-page letter one more time. The letter that would send copies of all James's secrets to the FBI, the CIA, the IRS, and every major news organization in America. All at the same time. All with one click. But Elena had an even better idea. She wasn't going to destroy James quietly. She was going to make it public. Messy. Humiliating. She was going to invite everyone James cared about to watch his empire burn. Elena picked up her phone and started making calls. In 12 hours, James would have the worst day of his life. And Elena would finally get her revenge. What do you think Elena is planning? How is she going to make James's downfall public? The next part is going to be insane, so make sure you're subscribed because you won't want to miss how Elena plays her masterstroke. Elena's first call was to her old assistant from DataShield, Maya Singh. Maya now worked for the biggest PR firm in New York. More importantly, Maya owed Elena her career. Maya, it's Elena. I need a favor. A big one. Elena. Oh my God, I haven't heard from you in forever. Of course, anything. What do you need? I need you to organize a press conference. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. sharp. I need reporters from every major news network. I need business journalists. I need tech bloggers. I need everyone who matters in James's world. There was silence on the other end. Then Maya's voice came back, curious and excited. What kind of press conference? Elena smiled. The kind that changes everything. Tell them Elena Zhao is making a major announcement about the future of American cybersecurity. Tell them it involves Cortec Industries. Wait, Elena Zhao? But you're Elena Corleone now, right? And isn't Cortec your husband's company? Just trust me, Maya. Can you do it? For you. I'll have 50 reporters there by 10 a.m. But Elena, what's really going on? You'll find out tomorrow. And Maya, make sure James gets an invitation. Tell him his wife specifically requested his presence. Elena hung up and made her second call. This one was harder. Special Agent Sarah Connor, FBI Financial Crimes Division. Elena took a deep breath. Sarah Connor had tried to hire her 5 years ago when DataShield first caught the government's attention. They had stayed in touch over the years. Sarah, it's Elena Zhao. I mean, Elena Corleone now. Elena, this is a surprise. How's married life treating you? If only you knew, Elena thought. Sarah, I need to meet with you. Tonight. I have information about a case you've been working on for 3 years. The line went quiet. Elena could practically hear Sarah's detective instincts kicking in. What kind of information? The kind that could take down a major money laundering operation. The kind that involves Russian organized crime, weapons sales, and treason. Elena, where are you getting this information? I can't talk about it on the phone. Meet me at the coffee shop on 5th and Madison in 1 hour. Come alone. Elena hung up before Sarah could ask more questions. Here's where Elena shows her genius, guys. She's not just destroying James randomly. She's doing it strategically. Every move is calculated. Every person she calls has a purpose. Drop a comment if you're starting to see Elena's master plan coming together. Elena's third call was to someone she never thought she'd speak to again. Her older brother, David Zhao. David was a federal prosecutor. He specialized in cases involving national security. He was also the only family member who had refused to come to Elena's wedding. Elena, is everything okay? They hadn't spoken in 2 years. Not since David told Elena that marrying James was the biggest mistake of her life. David, you were right about James. And I need your help. What did he do? Elena could hear David's prosecutor voice switching on. Cold. Professional. Dangerous. He's been laundering money for Viktor Petrov. Selling military technology to sanctioned countries. I have proof of everything. Jesus Christ, Elena. How long have you known about this? 6 months. I've been building a case. 6 months. Elena, if you've known about treason for 6 months and haven't reported it, you could be charged as an accomplice. Elena felt her heart stop. She hadn't thought about that. David, Where are you right now? Are you safe? I'm at home. James is busy. David, I'm scared. It was the first time Elena had admitted her fear out loud. She wasn't just scared of James. She was scared of Viktor Petrov. She was scared of the dangerous people her husband worked with. She was scared that when she destroyed James tomorrow, she might be putting herself in danger too. Elena, listen to me very carefully. Pack a bag. Right now. Don't let James see you. Go to a hotel. I'm driving up from Washington tonight. We're going to handle this the right way. David, I can't run. I have a plan. Your plan could get you killed. These aren't just white-collar criminals, Elena. Petrov has killed people for less than what you're about to do. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. In all her planning, she had focused on destroying James. She hadn't really thought about what Viktor Petrov might do to the woman who exposed his operation. But it was too late to back down now. I'm not running, David. Tomorrow morning, I'm holding a press conference. I'm exposing everything. Elena, no. That's exactly the wrong way to do this. You need to work with the FBI. You need protection. I need justice. And I need it to be public. David was quiet for a long moment. There's something else, isn't there? This isn't just about the crimes. Elena closed her eyes. Her brother always could read her perfectly. He's cheating on me. With our maid. Oh, Elena. I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry for me, David. Be sorry for James. Because tomorrow, the whole world is going to know exactly who he really is. Can we talk about how complicated this is getting? Elena isn't just dealing with a cheating husband anymore. She's dealing with international criminals who kill people. And now her own brother is warning her that she could go to prison too. What would you do in Elena's situation? Elena hung up with David and sat in the quiet of her office. Upstairs, she could hear James and Sophia taking a shower together. The sound made her sick. But then Elena heard something else. The front door of their penthouse opening and closing. Heavy footsteps in the hallway. Elena's blood went cold. James was upstairs with Sophia. So who just came into their apartment? She grabbed a letter opener from her desk and crept toward the office door. The footsteps were getting closer. Slow. Deliberate. Like someone who knew exactly where they were going. Elena held her breath and listened. The footsteps stopped right outside her office door. Then she heard a voice that made her entire body freeze with terror. Mrs. Corleone? I know you're in there. We need to talk. The voice was deep. Russian. Calm in a way that was somehow more terrifying than shouting would have been. Viktor Petrov was in her house. Elena's mind raced. How did he get in? How did he know she was here? Did he know about the files she had copied? Did he know about her plan? Mrs. Corleone, please open the door. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to make you an offer. Elena gripped the letter opener tighter. An offer? What kind of offer? I know you've been looking through your husband's business files. I know you found some interesting information. Elena's heart was beating so hard she thought it might explode. Petrov knew. He knew everything. Your husband is not a very careful man, Mrs. Corleone. He talks too much when he drinks. He mentioned that his brilliant wife has been asking questions about Cortec. Elena realized with growing horror that James had known she was investigating him. He had known for months. And he had told Viktor Petrov. Her own husband had put her life in danger. I'm going to count to 3, Mrs. Corleone. Then I'm coming in whether the door is locked or not. Elena looked around her office desperately. There was only one window, and it was 40 floors up. There was nowhere to run. 1. Elena's laptop was still open on her desk. The 3-page letter was still on the screen. If Petrov saw it, he would know she had enough evidence to destroy his entire operation. 2. Elena made a decision. She couldn't let Petrov see the letter. Even if it meant dying, she couldn't let him know how much she had discovered. She lunged for the laptop and hit delete just as the door exploded inward. Viktor Petrov was exactly what Elena had imagined. Tall, pale, with cold blue eyes and scars on his hands. He was wearing an expensive suit, but Elena could see the outline of a gun under his jacket. Behind him were 2 other men. Bigger. Meaner looking. Mrs. Corleone. There was no need for such drama. Elena stood behind her desk, still holding the letter opener. She was shaking, but she tried to keep her voice steady. What do you want? Petrov smiled, but his eyes stayed cold. I want to offer you a job. Wait. What? Did you guys see that plot twist coming? Viktor Petrov doesn't want to kill Elena. He wants to hire her. And James knew Elena was investigating him this whole time. This story is taking turns I didn't even see coming. A job. Sit down, Mrs. Corleone. Please. Elena didn't move. I'll stand. As you wish. Mrs. Corleone, I am a businessman. I deal in information. Your husband has told me about your talents. Data Shield was a remarkable program. Very useful for people in my line of work. Elena felt sick. James hadn't just told Petrov that she was investigating. He had told Petrov about her company. About her skills. I'm not interested. You haven't heard my offer yet. I want you to build a new program. Something like Data Shield, but more advanced. Something that can hide digital footprints instead of finding them. Elena stared at him. Petrov wanted her to build a program that would help criminals hide their crimes. I'll pay you $50 million. Cash. Untraceable. No. 100 million. I said no. Petrov's smile disappeared. Mrs. Corleone, I don't think you understand your situation. Your husband owes me a great deal of money. $20 million, to be exact. Money he borrowed to keep Cortec from going bankrupt 2 years ago. Elena felt the world spinning around her. Cortec was bankrupt. James had borrowed money from the Russian mafia. If James cannot pay me back, then his debt becomes your debt. You are his wife. His assets are your assets. His debts are your debts. That's not how marriage works. It's how my business works. You can build me the program I want, and I will consider the debt paid. Or, Petrov let the threat hang in the air. Or what? Or I will take payment in other ways. Perhaps your brother David would be interested in helping. Federal prosecutors make good salaries, but not enough to pay $20 million. Elena's blood went cold. Petrov was threatening David. You leave my brother out of this. Then we have a deal. You build my program, I forgive the debt. Elena looked at Petrov's cold eyes. She looked at his 2 men standing by the door. She thought about David. She thought about her plan for tomorrow. And then she realized something. Petrov had just given her the perfect opportunity. I'll do it. But I have conditions. Petrov raised an eyebrow. You're not in a position to make conditions, Mrs. Corleone. Yes, I am. Because you need me. And because I'm the only person who can build what you want. Elena could see Petrov thinking. Calculating. What conditions? First, you leave my brother alone. Forever. Agreed. Second, I need access to all of James's business files. Everything. I can't build you a program to hide your operation if I don't understand how it works. Petrov smiled again. Clever. Yes, you can have access to everything. Third, I need 1 week to build the program. 3 days. 5 days. And I work alone. No supervision. Petrov was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. 5 days. But Mrs. Corleone, if you try to run, if you try to contact the police, if you try to betray me in any way, your brother will have a very unfortunate accident. Do we understand each other? We understand each other. Excellent. I'll have James bring you all the files you need tomorrow morning. Petrov turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and Mrs. Corleone, I know about your little press conference tomorrow. Elena's heart stopped. Cancel it, or your brother dies. Petrov and his men left as quietly as they had arrived. Elena collapsed into her chair. Her plan was ruined. She couldn't expose James tomorrow without getting David killed. But now she had something even more dangerous. She had 5 days alone with all of James's files. 5 days with access to Viktor Petrov's entire operation. Elena opened her laptop and started typing a new letter. Not to the FBI this time. This letter was to Maya. Maya, cancel the press conference. Something came up. But don't worry. I have a much better plan now. Okay, I'm literally getting goosebumps. Elena just went from planning to destroy James to being forced to work for the Russian mafia. But did you catch that look in her eyes at the end? Elena isn't giving up. She's planning something even bigger. And she just got access to everything. What do you think she's really planning to build for Petrov? Elena looked up at the ceiling. She could still hear James and Sophia upstairs, laughing, having no idea that their entire world was about to change. But now Elena wasn't just planning to destroy James. She was planning to destroy Viktor Petrov too. And she had exactly 5 days to figure out how to do it without getting herself and David killed in the process. The next part is going to be absolutely insane. Elena is about to play the most dangerous game of her life, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Make sure you're subscribed because you're not going to want to miss what happens when Elena starts building a program that could either save her life or end it. Elena didn't sleep that night. She couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Viktor Petrov's cold smile. She heard his voice threatening David. She felt the weight of 5 days pressing down on her chest like a stone. At 6 a.m., she heard James finally come downstairs. He was whistling. Actually whistling. Like he didn't have a care in the world. Like he hadn't just spent the night with their maid while his wife was being threatened by Russian criminals. Elena stayed in her office. She listened to James making coffee in the kitchen. She listened to him talking on the phone, probably to one of his business partners. His voice was cheerful. Relaxed. He had no idea that Viktor Petrov had been in their house. Can you imagine how Elena must be feeling right now? Her husband is whistling and making coffee while she's fighting for her life. This is the man who sold her out to a Russian crime boss. How is she staying so calm? At 7 a.m., James knocked on Elena's office door. Baby, you in there? I brought you coffee. Elena opened the door. James was standing there in his expensive suit, holding 2 coffee cups. His hair was perfectly styled. His smile was perfect. He looked like the successful, loving husband he pretended to be. You're up early, James said, handing her a cup. Couldn't sleep. Elena took the coffee and looked into James's eyes. She searched for any sign that he knew what had happened last night. Any sign of guilt or fear or worry. There was nothing. James looked completely normal. I had some work to catch up on, Elena said. Work? Honey, you don't work anymore. Remember. Elena wanted to throw the coffee in his face. Instead, she smiled. Just some charity stuff. Planning events. That's my girl. Always thinking about others. James leaned down to kiss her forehead. Elena forced herself not to pull away. His lips felt cold against her skin. I have to go to the office early today, James said. Big meeting with some investors. I might be home late. More lies, Elena thought. Or maybe another meeting with Viktor Petrov. That's fine. I have a busy day too. James frowned. Busy with what? Elena felt her heart speed up. She had to be careful. One wrong word and James might get suspicious. Maya Singh called yesterday. She wants to meet for lunch. Talk about old times. It wasn't completely a lie. Maya had called back after Elena cancelled the press conference. She wanted to know what was really going on. Maya Singh? From your old company? Yes. We haven't talked in so long. I thought it would be nice. James's frown got deeper. Elena, I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? You know why. I don't want you getting mixed up in business stuff again. It's not good for you. Elena gripped her coffee cup tighter. It's just lunch, James. And I'm just trying to protect you. These tech people, they're always trying to use connections. Maya probably wants something from you. Do you see what James is doing here? He's trying to isolate Elena from anyone who might help her. He's been doing this for 3 years, and Elena is just now seeing it clearly. You're probably right, Elena said. I'll cancel. James's smile came back. Good girl. You know I just want what's best for you. He kissed her forehead again and headed for the door. Oh, by the way, James said, turning back. I'm having some files delivered here today. Business stuff. I need to review them at home this weekend. Elena's pulse quickened. The files. Petrov had told James to bring her the files. What kind of files? Nothing you need to worry about. Just keep them in my office, okay? Don't touch anything. Don't touch anything. Like she was a child who might break his important papers. Of course, Elena said. James left for work, and Elena was alone again. But not for long. At 9 a.m., the doorbell rang. Elena looked through the peephole and saw a delivery man holding several boxes. But standing behind the delivery man was one of Petrov's men from last night. The big one with the scar on his cheek. Elena opened the door. Delivery for Mrs. Corleone, the delivery man said. Sign here, the scarred man said. His voice was flat. Emotionless. Elena signed for the boxes. The delivery man left. The scarred man stayed. Mr. Petrov wants me to remind you of your deadline. 5 days. Starting now. I understand. He also wants me to remind you about your brother, David Zhao. He lives at 1247 K Street in Washington. Apartment 4B. He leaves for work every morning at exactly 8:15. Elena felt sick. Petrov's man had been watching David. They knew exactly where he lived. Exactly what his routine was. I get it. You don't need to threaten me. It's not a threat, Mrs. Corleone. It's information. 5 days. The man left. Elena dragged the boxes inside and locked the door. Her hands were shaking. She opened the first box and almost gasped. These weren't just James's business files. These were Viktor Petrov's files too. Bank records from 12 different countries. Names and addresses of people in Petrov's organization. Details about weapons deals, drug shipments, and money transfers. This wasn't just access to James's operation. This was access to one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the world. Elena is holding information that could bring down hundreds of criminals. But she's also holding information that could get her killed if she uses it wrong. What would you do with this much dangerous knowledge? Elena spent the next 3 hours going through the files. What she found made her realize that James's betrayal was even worse than she had thought. Cortec wasn't just helping Petrov launder money. Cortec was the center of Petrov's entire American operation. James had been selling American military secrets to Russian intelligence for 5 years. He had been helping Petrov move drugs through American ports. He had been providing technology that helped terrorists avoid detection. James wasn't just a cheating husband. He wasn't even just a traitor. He was one of the most dangerous criminals in America. And Elena was married to him. But the files also showed Elena something else. Something that gave her hope. Viktor Petrov was planning something big. Something that would happen in 6 days. A massive weapons deal with a terrorist organization in Syria. The deal was worth $200 million. And it was completely dependent on technology that only James could provide. If Elena could stop that deal, she could destroy Petrov's entire operation. But she had to be careful. She had to make Petrov think she was helping him while she was actually planning to destroy him. Elena opened her laptop and started designing the program Petrov had asked for. A program that could hide digital footprints and make criminal activity invisible to law enforcement. But Elena wasn't just building what Petrov wanted. She was building something much more clever. She was building a Trojan horse. A Trojan horse. For those who don't know, that's a program that looks like it does one thing but actually does something completely different. Elena is about to pull off the tech equivalent of a magic trick. On the surface, Elena's program would do exactly what Petrov wanted. It would hide criminal activity from detection. But underneath, the program would be doing something else entirely. It would be copying every single file it touched. Every bank record. Every communication. Every detail of every crime. And Elena would be the only person who could access those copied files. While Petrov thought Elena was helping him hide his crimes, she would actually be collecting evidence of every crime he had ever committed. But Elena needed help. She couldn't do this alone. She needed someone she could trust. Someone who could help her without putting themselves in danger. Elena picked up her phone and called Maya again. Elena, I was so worried about you after you canceled the press conference. What's going on? Maya, I need to ask you something, and I need you to not ask questions. Okay. Do you still have connections at the FBI? People you trust? Elena, you're scaring me. What kind of trouble are you in? The kind that could get people killed if I explain it over the phone. Can you meet me? Somewhere private. Yes, of course. Where? Elena thought carefully. She needed somewhere James wouldn't think to look for her. Somewhere Petrov's men wouldn't expect her to go. Do you remember that little cafe in Brooklyn? The one where we used to meet when we were planning the Data Shield launch. Cafe Luna. Of course. Meet me there in 2 hours. And Maya, come alone. Don't tell anyone where you're going. Elena hung up and looked at the time. She had 3 hours before James came home. 3 hours to start building her Trojan horse and figure out how to contact the FBI without getting David killed. But first, Elena needed to take care of something else. Something personal. She went upstairs to the master bedroom. The bed was still unmade from James and Sophia's morning together. Elena could smell Sophia's cheap perfume on the sheets. Elena opened James's closet and started searching. If James was working with international criminals, he would need a way to disappear quickly if things went wrong. He would need cash, fake documents, maybe even weapons. She found everything in a hidden safe behind his suits. $200,000 in cash. 3 fake passports with James's picture but different names. And a gun. Elena had never held a gun before. It was heavier than she expected. Colder. More real. She thought about Viktor Petrov threatening David. She thought about James betraying his own country. She thought about all the people who had died because of the weapons and drugs James had helped move. Elena put the gun in her purse. Okay, this just got real. Elena found James's escape plan, and now she's armed. She's building a Trojan horse program to destroy Petrov's operation. She's meeting secretly with Maya to contact the FBI. And she's got less than 5 days to save her brother and take down an international criminal organization. Elena left for her meeting with Maya, but she didn't take her car. James might have put a tracking device on it. Instead, she took 3 different subway trains and walked the last 6 blocks to make sure no one was following her. When she got to Cafe Luna, Maya was already there. Maya looked worried and scared. Elena, what the hell is going on? You look terrible. Elena sat down and looked around the cafe. It was mostly empty. Good. Maya, I'm about to tell you something that's going to sound crazy. But I need you to believe me, and I need you to help me. Okay. My husband is a criminal. He works for the Russian mafia. He's been selling American military secrets and helping terrorists get weapons. Maya's mouth dropped open. Elena, that's impossible. James is a traitor. And if I don't stop him in the next 5 days, a lot of people are going to die. Elena showed Maya some of the files she had copied onto her phone. Bank records showing money transfers to known terrorists. Emails discussing weapons sales. Evidence that would make any reasonable person believe. Maya's face went white. Oh my God. Elena, how did you find out about this? I've been investigating him for months. But now his criminal friends know I know. They're threatening to kill my brother if I don't help them. We need to call the FBI. Right now. I can't. If I contact the FBI directly, they'll kill David. But Maya, I have a plan. A way to destroy their entire operation without them knowing I'm doing it. Elena explained her Trojan horse program. How she could collect evidence while pretending to help the criminals. How she could gather enough proof to arrest everyone involved. But I need someone on the outside. Someone who can contact the FBI for me. Someone they trust. Maya was quiet for a long time. Elena, this is incredibly dangerous. If these people find out you're double-crossing them. They won't find out. Not if we're smart about it. What do you need me to do? Elena felt relief wash over her. Maya was going to help. I need you to contact Agent Sarah Connor at the FBI Financial Crimes Division. Tell her that Elena Zhao has information about Viktor Petrov's American operations. Tell her I'll have evidence in 4 days, but she needs to be ready to move fast. Elena Zhao. Not Elena Corleone. Elena smiled for the first time in days. Elena Zhao is back, Maya. And she's about to remind everyone why they should never underestimate her. Yes. Elena just reclaimed her identity. She's not the helpless wife anymore. She's Elena Zhao, the brilliant tech genius who built million-dollar companies. And now she's using every skill she has to take down the most dangerous criminals in the world. Elena left the cafe feeling stronger than she had in years. She had a plan. She had help. And she had less than 5 days to pull off the most important hack of her life. But when Elena got home, she found James waiting for her in the living room. He wasn't alone. Sophia was there too. And she was crying. Elena, James said. His voice was cold. Angry. We need to talk. Elena's hand instinctively moved toward her purse where James's gun was hidden. But she forced herself to stay calm. To smile like the perfect wife she had been pretending to be for 3 years. James. What's wrong? Why is Sophia crying? James stood up from the couch. His face was harder than Elena had ever seen it. Gone was the charming smile, the loving husband act. This was a different James. A dangerous James. Sophia has something to tell you, Elena. Something I think you need to hear. Sophia looked up at Elena with red, swollen eyes. Her mascara was running down her cheeks. She looked terrified. Mrs. Corleone, I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. Elena sat down across from them, her mind racing. How much did they know? Had James figured out that she had met with Maya? Did Petrov tell James about their conversation last night? Sophia, what are you talking about? Sophia looked at James, like she was asking for permission to speak. He nodded. Mrs. Corleone, I haven't been completely honest with you. About who I am. Elena felt her stomach drop. What do you mean? I'm not really a maid. I mean, I am now, but that's not why I'm here. Oh no, guys. I can feel something huge coming. Sophia isn't just the maid James is cheating with. There's something bigger happening here. James sat down next to Sophia and put his arm around her. The gesture made Elena sick, but she forced herself to keep listening. Tell her the rest, Sophia. Sophia wiped her eyes with a tissue. Mrs. Corleone, my real name is Sophia Volkov. I work for my uncle. Elena's blood went cold. Volkov. That was a Russian name. Your uncle. Viktor Petrov. The room started spinning around Elena. Sophia wasn't just some young girl James was having an affair with. Sophia was Petrov's niece. She was a spy. How long? Elena whispered. I've been working in your house for 8 months, Sophia said. My uncle sent me here to watch you. To make sure you weren't getting suspicious about James's business. Elena felt like she was going to be sick. For 8 months, she had been living with a spy. For 8 months, Sophia had been watching her every move, reporting back to Viktor Petrov. But Mrs. Corleone, I never told my uncle about the files you were copying. I never told him you were investigating James. I swear. Elena looked at James. His face was completely calm. Too calm. You knew, Elena said. You knew who Sophia really was. James smiled, but it wasn't the warm smile she had fallen in love with. It was cold. Calculating. Of course I knew. Viktor doesn't send his niece to clean houses for fun, Elena. I asked him to send Sophia here. Why? Because I knew you were getting suspicious. You're too smart for your own good, Elena. I could see you watching me. Asking questions. I needed someone to watch you while I wasn't home. Elena felt stupid. All this time, she thought she had been so clever. She thought she had been investigating James without him knowing. But James had known everything. He had been watching her watch him. Can you imagine how Elena feels right now? She thought she was the smart one, but James has been playing her for months. Everything she thought she knew was wrong. But that's not the worst part, James continued. Sophia, tell Elena what you told me this morning. Sophia started crying again. Mrs. Corleone, last night, after my uncle visited you, I called him. I was supposed to report that you had agreed to build his program. But I couldn't do it. Why not? Because I like you. In 8 months of living in your house, you were never mean to me. You never treated me like a servant. You were kind. And I realized that my uncle was going to kill you as soon as you finished building his program. Elena's heart stopped. What? James leaned forward. Viktor never planned to let you live, Elena. You know too much about his operation. The program was just a way to keep you busy while he figured out the best way to eliminate you. But Sophia didn't report back to Viktor last night, James continued. Which means Viktor is going to get suspicious. Which means we're all in danger now. Elena looked back and forth between James and Sophia. This didn't make sense. If Sophia was trying to protect Elena, why was she still sleeping with Elena's husband? I don't understand. If Sophia is trying to help me, why are you two still? We're not, Sophia said quickly. Mrs. Corleone, James and I were never really together. That was part of the act. Elena felt like the floor had dropped out from under her. What? James sighed. Elena, everything you saw yesterday, everything you heard, that was staged. We knew you would be coming home early from your charity lunch. We knew you would hear us in the bedroom. But why? Why would you want me to catch you cheating? Because we needed you to be angry. Really angry. Angry enough to want to destroy me. Elena stared at James. I don't understand. Guys, my brain is breaking right now. James wanted Elena to catch him cheating? This whole thing was planned? What kind of game is James playing? James stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the city below, his hands in his pockets. Elena, 3 months ago, Viktor Petrov told me he was planning to kill me. What? Why? Because I made a mistake. I skimmed money from one of his drug deals. $2 million. I thought he wouldn't notice. But he did notice. He noticed. And Viktor doesn't forgive that kind of betrayal. He was going to kill me, but then I offered him something better. Elena felt dread building in her chest. What did you offer him? James turned back to face Elena. You. Me. I told Viktor about your companies. About Data Shield. About how brilliant you are. I convinced him that you could build programs that would make his organization invisible to law enforcement forever. Elena couldn't breathe. James had sold her to Viktor Petrov to save his own life. But Viktor is suspicious of everyone. He wouldn't just take my word that you would cooperate. He needed proof that you wanted to help him. So you made me think you were cheating. So we made you think I was cheating. We needed you angry enough to want revenge. Angry enough to seem desperate. When Viktor offered you the deal to build his program, it had to look like you were accepting because you wanted to hurt me, not because I had arranged the whole thing. Elena felt tears building in her eyes, but not from sadness. From rage. You manipulated me. You made me think my marriage was falling apart just so you could use me to save yourself from the Russian mafia. Elena, I'm trying to save both our lives here. No, James. You're trying to save your life. You don't care what happens to me. Sophia spoke up. Mrs. Corleone, that's why I couldn't report back to my uncle last night. Because I realized you don't deserve this. You don't deserve to die because of James's mistakes. Elena looked at Sophia. The young woman was still crying, but there was something determined in her eyes now. Sophia, what are you saying? I'm saying I want to help you. Really help you. My uncle is planning to kill you in 5 days, as soon as you finish his program. But maybe we can stop him. Wait, this is getting crazy. Sophia is switching sides. She's willing to betray her own uncle to help Elena? And James just admitted he's been manipulating Elena for months to save himself. Elena's mind was racing. This changed everything. If Sophia was really willing to help, if she really had inside information about Petrov's plans, maybe Elena could still pull off her Trojan horse idea. But could she trust Sophia? How did she know this wasn't just another layer of manipulation? Sophia, if you really want to help me, prove it. How? Tell me something about your uncle's operation that I don't already know. Something that would help me stop him. Sophia looked at James nervously. James nodded. Mrs. Corleone, tomorrow night, my uncle is having a meeting with all his American contacts. Everyone who works for him in the United States will be there. It's happening at a warehouse in Queens. Why is that important? Because if something were to happen at that meeting, if the FBI were to raid it, my uncle's entire American operation would be destroyed. Everyone would be arrested at the same time. Elena felt her heart racing. This was exactly what she needed. A way to take down Petrov's entire organization in one move. But there was still one problem. Sophia, if I help the FBI raid that meeting, your uncle will know you betrayed him. He'll kill you. Sophia nodded. I know. But Mrs. Corleone, I'm tired of being part of this. I'm tired of watching my uncle hurt innocent people. If I have to die to stop him, that's okay with me. Elena looked at this young woman who had been pretending to be her maid for 8 months. Who had been sleeping in Elena's house, eating Elena's food, pretending to be someone she wasn't. But who was now willing to risk her life to save Elena. What about you, James? Are you willing to testify against Viktor? James was quiet for a long moment. Elena, if I testify against Viktor, I'll go to prison too. For a very long time. You should go to prison. You're a traitor. Maybe I am. But I'm also your husband. And despite everything, I do love you. Elena almost laughed. You love me. James, you sold me to the Russian mafia. I sold you to save your life. Elena, if I hadn't convinced Victor that you could be useful to him, he would have killed both of us 3 months ago. This was the only way to keep you alive long enough to find another solution. Okay, I don't know what to believe anymore. Is James a complete villain who's trying to save himself? Or is he a man who made terrible choices but is genuinely trying to protect his wife? What do you guys think? Elena stood up and walked away from both of them. She needed space to think. Everything she thought she knew was wrong. James wasn't just cheating on her, he was trying to save her. Sophia wasn't just the other woman, she was an undercover agent willing to die to help Elena. But Elena still had her Trojan horse program. She still had her plan to collect evidence. And now she had inside information about Petrov's meeting tomorrow night. Elena turned back to James and Sophia. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to finish building Victor's program. But I'm going to build it my way. It's going to collect evidence of every crime Victor has ever committed. Elena, that's incredibly dangerous. Everything about this situation is dangerous, James. But I'm not going to spend the rest of my life running from Russian criminals because of your mistakes. Elena looked at Sophia. And you're going to help me. You're going to tell me everything you know about that meeting tomorrow night. Every detail. Mrs. Corleone, are you sure about this? If my uncle finds out. Sophia, your uncle is planning to kill me anyway. The only difference is whether I fight back or not. And I'm definitely fighting back. Yes. Elena is taking control of this situation. She's not going to be a victim anymore. She's going to use her brilliant mind and every resource she has to take down Viktor Petrov's entire organization. Elena sat back down and looked at both of them. But first, I need to know something. James, was any of our marriage real? Did you ever actually love me, or was I just a useful tool from the beginning? James was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer than it had been all day. Elena, when I met you at that charity gala, I wasn't thinking about business. I wasn't thinking about Victor or money or any of this. I was thinking about how beautiful you were, how smart you were, how much I wanted to be the kind of man who deserved someone like you. He paused. Our marriage was real, Elena. At least for me. Everything that happened after, all the mistakes I made, they were because I was scared of losing you. I thought if you knew who I really was, what I had gotten involved in, you would leave me. Elena felt tears in her eyes again. So instead, you lied to me for 3 years. You made me think I was going crazy. You sold me to criminals. I was trying to protect you. You were trying to protect yourself. There's a difference. Elena wiped her eyes and stood up. But it doesn't matter now. What matters is stopping Viktor Petrov before he kills all of us. She looked at Sophia. Are you really willing to help me bring down your uncle? Sophia nodded. Yes, Mrs. Corleone. Whatever it takes. Elena looked at James. And are you willing to testify against Victor, even if it means going to prison? James was quiet for a long time. If it means keeping you alive, yes. This is the moment everything changes, guys. Elena has gone from being manipulated and lied to being in complete control. She has inside information from Sophia, cooperation from James, and her own brilliant plan. Viktor Petrov has no idea what's about to hit him. Elena picked up her phone and called Maya. Maya, it's Elena. I need you to call Agent Sarah Connor right now. Tell her the meeting with Viktor Petrov isn't in 4 days. It's tomorrow night. And tell her Elena Zhao has 2 witnesses willing to testify. Elena hung up and looked at James and Sophia. Tomorrow night, we're going to destroy Viktor Petrov's entire American operation. And we're going to do it together. The next part is going to be absolutely insane. Elena is about to pull off the most dangerous undercover operation ever attempted. She's got less than 24 hours to finish her Trojan horse program, coordinate with the FBI, and take down one of the most powerful criminals in America. Make sure you're subscribed because you won't want to miss Elena's final masterstroke. Elena spent the entire night coding. Her fingers flew across the keyboard as she built the most complex program of her life. A program that would look like it was helping Viktor Petrov hide his crimes, but would actually be copying every single piece of evidence and sending it directly to the FBI. She had 18 hours until the meeting in Queens. 18 hours to finish her Trojan horse, coordinate with Agent Sarah Connor, and somehow stay alive long enough to see Viktor Petrov arrested. At 6 a.m., Elena's phone rang. It was Maya. Elena, I talked to Agent Connor. She's very interested in what you have to offer. But she needs to meet with you before tonight. She needs to verify your witnesses and see your evidence. That's impossible, Maya. If I leave the house, Petrov's men will know. They're watching me. Then she'll come to you. Elena, she's bringing a whole team. They want to wire you and your witnesses before tonight. Elena felt her stomach drop. Wire us. Maya, if Petrov finds a wire. I know. But Elena, the FBI can't raid that meeting based on just your word. They need real-time evidence of crimes being committed. Elena closed her eyes. She had known this moment would come. The moment when she would have to put her life completely in danger with no guarantee of survival. Tell Agent Connor to come here at 2 p.m. James will be at work, and that gives me time to finish the program. Elena hung up and went to check on Sophia. The young woman was in the kitchen, making coffee with shaking hands. Mrs. Corleone, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my uncle's face. He's going to know I betrayed him. Sophia, you can still change your mind. I won't judge you if you want to run. Sophia set down the coffee pot and looked at Elena. Mrs. Corleone, when I was a little girl in Russia, my uncle used to tell me stories about America. He said it was a place where people could start over, where they could become whoever they wanted to be. She paused. But my uncle never started over. He brought all his violence and crime with him. He's been destroying people's lives in America just like he did in Russia. Sophia wiped away a tear. I want to be the person my uncle's stories made me think I could be. Someone good. Someone brave. This is breaking my heart, guys. Sophia is just a young woman who got trapped in her uncle's criminal world. Now she's choosing to risk everything to do what's right. How many of us would have that kind of courage? At 2 p.m., Agent Sarah Connor arrived with 3 other FBI agents. Elena had met Sarah years ago when Data Shield was being used by law enforcement, but she had never seen Sarah in full FBI mode. She was all business, all focus, all danger. Elena, I need you to understand something before we go any further. What you're proposing tonight is one of the most dangerous undercover operations I've ever heard of. If Viktor Petrov suspects for even 1 second that you're working with us, he will kill you immediately. I understand. Do you? Elena, this isn't like building a computer program where you can fix bugs later. If you make one mistake tonight, you're dead. Your witnesses are dead. And Petrov disappears forever. Elena looked at Sarah. Agent Connor, Viktor Petrov is planning to kill me anyway. At least this way, I have a chance to take him down first. Sarah nodded slowly. Show me what you've got. Elena opened her laptop and showed Sarah the Trojan Horse program. She explained how it would copy all of Petrov's files while pretending to hide them. She showed Sarah the evidence she had already collected from James's files. Sarah's eyes got wider as she scrolled through bank records, weapons deals, and communications with known terrorists. Jesus Christ, Elena. This is enough to take down half the organized crime families on the East Coast. That's just what I found in James's files. Tonight, when Petrov runs my program on his main servers, we'll get everything. His entire global operation. Sarah called in her tech team to examine Elena's program. They spent 2 hours going through every line of code, making sure it would work exactly as Elena claimed. It's brilliant, one of the techs told Sarah. Petrov will never know what hit him. Then came the hard part. Sarah had to wire Elena, James, and Sophia for the meeting. Okay, this is where things get really scary. Elena is about to walk into a room full of international criminals with a wire on her body. One wrong move and she's dead. Elena, this wire is smaller than a grain of rice. We'll put it under your skin, just below your collarbone. It's completely invisible, but if Petrov's men search you with a metal detector, they'll find it. What are the chances they'll search us? Hi. These people don't trust anyone. Elena felt her heart racing. Then how do we get evidence of their crimes? Sarah pulled out a tiny device that looked like a hearing aid. This is a backup. It looks like a piece of jewelry. You'll wear it as an earring. It only records for 2 hours, but that should be enough. Elena put on the fake earring. It was so small she could barely feel it. What about James and Sophia? Same thing. But Elena, I need you to understand something. Once you walk into that meeting, we can't help you. Our teams will be positioned around the warehouse, but we won't be able to get inside until we have evidence of active crimes being committed. How long will that take? If your program works the way you say it will, about 30 minutes. Elena, that's 30 minutes where you'll be completely on your own with some of the most dangerous criminals in America. Elena nodded. She understood. For 30 minutes, she would have to convince Viktor Petrov that she was willingly helping him destroy innocent lives. She would have to smile and nod while he discussed weapons sales and drug deals. She would have to pretend to be the kind of person who would betray her own country for money. At 6 p.m., James came home from work. He looked surprised to see FBI agents in his living room. Elena, what's going on? James, meet Agent Sarah Connor. She's here to wire us for tonight. James went completely pale. Elena, you called the FBI? Are you insane? If Victor finds out. James, Victor is planning to kill us anyway. This is our only chance. Sarah stepped forward. Mr. Corleone, your wife has offered to help us take down Viktor Petrov's entire organization. But we need your full cooperation. And if I refuse, then you'll be arrested right now for treason, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit murder. Your choice. James looked at Elena, then at Sarah, then back at Elena. If I do this, if I testify against Victor, what happens to me? That depends on how much you help us. Full cooperation might get you 20 years instead of life in prison. Elena watched James's face as he processed this information. 20 years in prison versus certain death from Victor Petrov. Okay, James said finally. I'll do it. James is finally making the right choice, but is it too late? Can Elena ever forgive him for what he's put her through? It took another hour to wire James and Sophia. By the time they were finished, it was 7:30 p.m. The meeting was at 9 p.m. Elena, I want you to remember something, Sarah said as she prepared to leave. Your job tonight is not to be a hero. Your job is to survive long enough for us to get the evidence we need. Don't take any unnecessary risks. I understand. And Elena, if something goes wrong, if you think you're about to be discovered, say the words, Red Bird. That's the signal for us to move in immediately. Elena nodded. Red Bird. Sarah and her team left. Elena, James, and Sophia were alone in the apartment. None of them spoke. They all knew that in less than 2 hours, they would either be heroes who had taken down one of the most dangerous criminals in America, or they would be dead. At 8:15 p.m., Elena's phone rang. It was Victor Petrov. Mrs. Corleone, I trust you have completed the program I requested? Yes, Mr. Petrov. It's ready. Excellent. Sophia will drive you and James to the meeting location. Do not bring any electronic devices except for your laptop with the program. Do not tell anyone where you are going. If I suspect for even one moment that you have contacted law enforcement, your brother will be found dead in his apartment tomorrow morning. The line went dead. Elena looked at James and Sophia. This was it. There was no turning back now. They got in Sophia's car and drove through the dark streets of Queens. Elena watched the city pass by through the window and wondered if she would live to see another sunrise. This is it, guys. Elena is about to walk into the most dangerous situation of her life. She's got FBI wires hidden on her body, a Trojan horse program on her laptop, and 2 very unreliable allies. In 30 minutes, she'll either have destroyed Victor Petrov's empire or she'll be dead. When they arrived at the warehouse, Elena saw at least 20 cars in the parking lot. This wasn't just a small meeting. This was a gathering of every major criminal in Petrov's American network. 2 of Petrov's men searched Elena, James, and Sophia before they entered the warehouse. Elena held her breath as the metal detector wand passed over her body. The grain of rice wire was so small that the detector didn't pick it up. But Elena could feel her heart pounding so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. Inside the warehouse, Elena saw Victor Petrov standing at the center of a group of dangerous-looking men and women. Arms dealers, drug smugglers, money launderers, people who had killed to get where they were. Mrs. Corleone. Petrov called out when he saw Elena. Come, show everyone what you have built for us. Elena walked to the center of the warehouse, carrying her laptop. Every eye in the room was on her. She could feel the fake earring recording everything. Ladies and gentlemen, Petrov announced to the room, this is Elena Corleone. She has built us a program that will make our operations completely invisible to American law enforcement. Elena opened her laptop and connected it to a large screen that Petrov had set up. Her Trojan horse program appeared on the screen for everyone to see. This program will hide all digital evidence of financial transactions, Elena said, her voice steady despite her fear. Bank transfers, wire transfers, cryptocurrency exchanges. Everything will be invisible to FBI tracking. The criminals in the room started nodding and smiling. They were excited about what Elena's program could do for them. But Elena was terrified, because as she looked around the room, she realized something horrible. Agent Sarah Connor was wrong. There weren't just 20 criminals at this meeting. There were 50, maybe 60. And Elena recognized some of the faces from FBI Most Wanted posters. These weren't just local criminals. These were international terrorists. Arms dealers who sold weapons to enemies of America. Drug dealers who had killed hundreds of people. Elena realized she wasn't just taking down Victor Petrov's organization. She was taking down one of the largest criminal networks in the world. And if any one of these people suspected what she was really doing, they would kill her in the most brutal way possible. Oh my God. Elena just realized the stakes are so much higher than she thought. This isn't just about Victor Petrov anymore. This is about some of the most wanted criminals in the world. And she's standing in the middle of them with FBI wires on her body. Mrs. Corleone, Petrov said, please demonstrate the program for our friends. Elena's hands were shaking as she typed commands into her laptop. She was activating her Trojan horse program, but she was also sending copies of everything to the FBI servers. As the program ran, Elena could see financial records appearing on the screen. Millions of dollars being moved between criminal organizations. Weapons sales to terrorist groups. Drug shipments worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The criminals in the room were cheering. They thought Elena was helping them hide their crimes. But Elena knew that every piece of evidence was being copied and sent directly to the FBI. 25 more minutes. That's all she needed to survive. Then everything went wrong. Elena's laptop screen flickered. For just a second, instead of showing the criminal records being hidden, it showed them being copied to FBI servers. Most of the people in the room didn't notice. But one person did. A woman Elena didn't recognize was staring at the laptop screen with a frown on her face. The woman walked closer to Elena's laptop and looked at the code running in the background. Elena's heart stopped. The woman was a computer programmer. And she had just realized that Elena's program wasn't hiding evidence. It was collecting evidence. "Victor," the woman called out. "We have a problem." "No, no, no. Someone figured out Elena's program. This is the worst possible scenario. Elena is about to be exposed in a room full of the most dangerous criminals in the world." Viktor Petrov turned around. "What kind of problem, Katya?" "This program isn't hiding our records. It's copying them. This woman is working with the FBI." The entire warehouse went silent. 60 of the most dangerous criminals in America all turned to look at Elena. Elena could feel the fake earring still recording. She could feel the wire under her skin. She could feel 60 pairs of eyes staring at her with murder in them. Viktor Petrov walked slowly toward Elena. His face was calm, but Elena could see rage building behind his eyes. "Mrs. Corleone," he said quietly, "is this true?" Elena looked around the room. She saw James and Sophia both staring at her with terror in their eyes. She had two choices. She could try to lie, try to convince Petrov that Katya was wrong. But Elena knew that wouldn't work. Katya was right, and everyone in the room would figure it out soon. Or Elena could accept that she was about to die, and use her last moments to make sure the FBI got everything they needed. Elena looked directly at Viktor Petrov and smiled. "Yes, Viktor. It's true. I've been working with the FBI. And in about 2 minutes, they're going to have enough evidence to arrest every single person in this room." The warehouse erupted in chaos. Elena heard guns being pulled from holsters. She heard shouting in 6 different languages. She heard Viktor Petrov screaming orders to his men. And then Elena said the 2 words that would either save her life or end it. "Red Bird. This is the end, guys." Elena just exposed herself to 60 international criminals and called for the FBI to move in. The next few minutes will determine whether Elena lives to see tomorrow, or whether her brilliant plan dies with her in this warehouse. "I literally cannot breathe." The moment Elena said, "Red Bird," everything happened at once. Viktor Petrov pulled out his gun and pointed it directly at Elena's head. "You stupid woman. Do you have any idea what you've done?" Around the warehouse, 60 criminals were scrambling for weapons, screaming orders, trying to figure out if the FBI was already surrounding them. The sound was deafening. But Elena wasn't looking at Petrov's gun. She was looking at her laptop screen. The progress bar showed 94% complete. Her Trojan horse program had copied almost everything. Just 30 more seconds and the FBI would have enough evidence to destroy criminal networks across 3 continents. "James, Sophia, get down!" Elena screamed. Then the lights went out. The warehouse plunged into complete darkness. Elena heard Petrov cursing in Russian. She heard footsteps running in every direction. She heard the sound of cars starting in the parking lot outside. And then she heard the most beautiful sound in the world. "FBI. Nobody move. This building is surrounded." Suddenly, the warehouse was flooded with blinding white light as FBI tactical teams smashed through every entrance. Elena could see dozens of agents in body armor pouring into the building from all directions. "Get on the ground. Hands where we can see them." But the criminals weren't giving up without a fight. Gunshots exploded through the air. Elena dropped to the floor next to her laptop, trying to protect it while bullets flew over her head. She could see the progress bar on her screen. 97%. 98%. A strong hand grabbed Elena's shoulder. She looked up, expecting to see Viktor Petrov. Instead, she saw James. "Elena, are you hurt?" "The laptop. I need to protect the laptop." James looked at the screen and saw 99% complete. "Almost there." More gunshots. Elena could see FBI agents advancing through the warehouse, using the metal containers as cover. The criminals were shooting back, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Elena heard Viktor Petrov's voice shouting over the chaos. "Find the woman! Kill Elena Corleone!" This is insane. Elena is in the middle of a war zone, but she's still trying to protect her laptop so the FBI can get all the evidence. She's literally dodging bullets to save the world. Suddenly, Sophia appeared next to Elena and James. Her face was covered in dirt, but she was alive. "Mrs. Corleone, there's a back exit. We need to get out of here." "Not yet." Elena pointed at her laptop. 99%. A bullet hit the container next to them, sending sparks flying. James grabbed Elena's arm. Elena, we need to leave now. 10 more seconds. Elena watched the progress bar creep toward 100%. Around them, the battle was getting more intense. She could hear Agent Sarah Connor's voice on a megaphone. Viktor Petrov. You are surrounded. Surrender now. Petrov's response was more gunfire. Elena's laptop screen flashed. Upload complete. Yes. Elena slammed the laptop shut. We got everything. James helped Elena to her feet. Can we run now? But as they turned toward the back exit Sophia had found, Viktor Petrov stepped out of the shadows. His expensive suit was torn and dirty. His face was bloody, but his gun was pointed directly at Elena's chest. You're not going anywhere, Mrs. Corleone. Elena, James, and Sophia froze. Around them, the gunfight was still raging, but in their little corner of the warehouse, everything was suddenly quiet. Victor, it's over, Elena said. The FBI has everything. Your entire organization is finished. Petrov smiled, but his eyes were completely crazy. Maybe my organization is finished, but I can still kill you. I can still make you pay for what you've done to me. Elena looked at this man who had terrorized her for days, who had threatened her brother, who had turned her life upside down. And Elena realized something. She wasn't scared anymore. Victor, do you know what the difference is between you and me? Petrov's finger was on the trigger. Enlighten me. You destroy things. I build things. You hurt people. I help people. And no matter what you do to me right now, I've already won. Elena is staring down the barrel of a gun and giving Viktor Petrov a lecture about good versus evil. This woman has nerves of steel. You haven't won anything. You're about to die. Victor, look around you. Petrov glanced around the warehouse. FBI agents had arrested most of his people. The ones who weren't in handcuffs were either dead or wounded. His empire was crumbling around him. I came into this warehouse as Elena Corleone, a scared wife who just wanted to survive, Elena said. But I'm leaving as Elena Zhao, the woman who brought down one of the most dangerous criminals in the world. Elena took a step toward Petrov. His gun was still pointed at her, but she wasn't backing down. And Victor, even if you kill me right now, it won't matter. Because my program didn't just copy your files. It sent them to FBI offices in 12 countries. By morning, your criminal friends in Russia, China, and Syria will all be in prison too. Petrov's face went white. That's impossible. Elena smiled. I told you I was good at building programs. I just didn't tell you how good. What? Elena's program didn't just help the American FBI. It sent evidence to law enforcement agencies around the world. She just took down international crime networks on multiple continents. For the first time since Elena had met him, Viktor Petrov looked truly afraid. You destroyed everything, he whispered. Yes, I did. Petrov raised his gun higher, aiming at Elena's head. Then I have nothing left to lose. But before Petrov could pull the trigger, someone tackled him from behind. It was Sophia. Uncle Victor. Sophia screamed as she fought for the gun. I'm tired of watching you hurt people. Elena watched in amazement as Sophia, this young woman who had been terrified just hours earlier, fought with a man twice her size to save Elena's life. The gun went off. Elena heard the bullet hit the warehouse ceiling. Then Agent Sarah Connor and 3 FBI tactical agents appeared around the corner. Viktor Petrov. Drop the weapon. Petrov was struggling on the ground with Sophia, but he managed to point his gun at Elena one more time. If I can't have my empire, nobody gets to be happy. Elena closed her eyes and waited for the gunshot. Instead, she heard James's voice. Victor, over here. Elena opened her eyes and saw James standing 10 feet away from Petrov. You want to shoot someone? Shoot me. I'm the one who betrayed you first. James is trying to sacrifice himself to save Elena. After everything he's done wrong, he's finally trying to do something right. Petrov turned his gun toward James. James Corleone. The man who stole from me. Who lied to me. Who started all of this. That's right, Victor. It's all my fault. Elena never did anything to you. Sophia never did anything to you. This is between you and me. Elena watched her husband, the man who had manipulated her, lied to her, and sold her to criminals, stand up to Viktor Petrov to protect her life. James, no, Elena said. But James wasn't looking at Elena. He was looking at Victor. I made a lot of mistakes, Victor. I hurt a lot of people. But I won't let you hurt Elena. Petrov was breathing heavily. His gun moved back and forth between Elena and James, like he couldn't decide who to kill first. You want to know something funny? Petrov said. I was never going to kill Elena after she finished the program. I was going to kill you, James. And then I was going to keep Elena to build programs for me forever. Elena felt sick. Even after everything, Petrov's plan had been worse than she thought. But now, Petrov continued, I think I'll kill you both. Petrov pointed his gun at Elena and pulled the trigger. But Sophia was still fighting with him. The bullet went wide, hitting a metal container instead of Elena. Agent Sarah Connor didn't wait for Petrov to get off another shot. "Take him down." 3 FBI agents fired at the same time. Viktor Petrov collapsed to the warehouse floor. His reign of terror was over. Yes, Viktor Petrov is finally defeated. But guys, this whole scene was incredible. Elena faced death with courage, James tried to sacrifice himself, Sophia fought her own uncle to save Elena, and the FBI saved everyone at the last second. Elena ran to Sophia, who was sitting on the floor next to Petrov's body. The young woman was crying, but she was alive. "Sophia, are you hurt?" "No, Mrs. Corleone. I'm okay. Is my uncle?" Agent Connor checked Petrov's pulse. "He's dead." Sophia nodded. "Good. He can't hurt anyone else now." Elena helped Sophia to her feet, then turned to James. He was leaning against a wall, looking exhausted but alive. "James, that was incredibly stupid and incredibly brave." James managed a small smile. "I've been practicing being brave. I'm not very good at it yet." Agent Connor walked over to Elena. "Elena, are you injured?" "I'm fine." "Did we get everyone?" 53 arrests. This is the biggest organized crime bust in FBI history. Elena looked around the warehouse. FBI agents were leading criminals out in handcuffs. Her laptop was safely in the hands of the FBI tech team. Viktor Petrov was dead. It was over. Elena did it. She actually did it. She took down Viktor Petrov, saved her brother, exposed James's crimes, and helped the FBI arrest over 50 international criminals. From scared housewife to international hero. But then Elena realized something. In all the chaos and excitement, she had forgotten about the most important person in her life. "Agent Connor, I need to call my brother. Victor's men were supposed to kill David if I didn't cooperate." Sarah smiled. "Elena, we arrested Victor's men in Washington 3 hours ago. Your brother is safe. He's actually on his way here to see you." Elena felt tears starting to flow down her cheeks. For the first time in months, they were tears of relief instead of fear. "Thank you," Elena whispered. "Elena, you saved a lot of lives tonight. You should be proud of what you accomplished." Elena looked at James, who would probably spend the next 20 years in prison. She looked at Sophia, who would need a new identity to stay safe from what remained of her uncle's organization. She looked at the FBI agents who had risked their lives to help her. "Agent Connor, I didn't do this alone. A lot of people helped me. A lot of people were braver than they needed to be." Sarah nodded. "That's what makes it special, Elena. When good people work together, they can defeat even the most powerful evil." This is such a beautiful moment. Elena went from being isolated and manipulated to being surrounded by people who helped her save the world. James redeemed himself, Sophia chose good over evil, the FBI believed in Elena's plan, and Maya connected her with the right people. As Elena walked out of the warehouse, she felt something she hadn't felt in 3 years. Freedom. She was no longer Elena Corleone, the manipulated wife of a criminal. She was no longer Elena Zhao, the brilliant but lonely tech entrepreneur. She was Elena, a woman who had faced the worst kind of evil and won. The next part is going to be so emotional. Elena has won the impossible battle, but now she has to figure out what comes next. How do you rebuild your life after something like this? And what happens between Elena and James now that the truth is finally out? 3 weeks later, Elena stood in front of the United States Capitol building, wearing a navy blue suit that made her feel powerful and professional. Today was the day she would testify before Congress about international cybersecurity and organized crime. The scared, manipulated woman who had discovered her husband's affair seemed like someone from another lifetime. Can you believe how far Elena has come? 3 weeks ago, she was hiding in her office, afraid of her own husband. Now she's about to address the most powerful people in America. Elena's testimony had helped the FBI arrest over 200 criminals in 15 countries. Her Trojan Horse program had exposed money laundering operations worth over $2 billion. 3 terrorist plots had been stopped using information from Elena's evidence. But today wasn't just about her testimony. Today was also the day James would be sentenced. Elena walked into the federal courthouse at 2 p.m. She saw Maya waiting for her in the hallway. "Elena, you look amazing. Are you ready for this?" "I think so." "How do I look?" "Like someone who just saved the world." "Which, you did." Elena smiled. Over the past 3 weeks, she and Maya had become close friends again. Maya had helped Elena navigate the legal system, deal with reporters, and figure out what came next in her life. "Maya, I need to ask you something. Do you think I'm making the right choice about James?" Maya looked serious. "Elena, only you can answer that. What does your heart tell you?" Elena had been asking herself that question for weeks. James had cooperated fully with the FBI. He had testified against every criminal he had ever worked with. He had helped law enforcement agencies in 6 countries arrest arms dealers and money launderers. But James had also betrayed his country. He had lied to Elena for years. He had put her life in danger to save himself. The judge had given Elena the opportunity to make a victim impact statement before James's sentencing. She could ask for mercy, or she could ask for the maximum sentence. Elena still didn't know what she was going to say. This is such a difficult situation for Elena. James did terrible things, but he also tried to sacrifice himself to save her at the end. How do you forgive someone who hurt you but also risked his life for you? Elena entered the courtroom and saw James sitting at the defendant's table with his lawyer. He had lost weight over the past 3 weeks. His expensive suits had been replaced with a simple gray outfit. His confident smile was gone. But when James saw Elena enter the courtroom, his face lit up. He mouthed the words, "Thank you for coming." Elena nodded but didn't smile back. She still wasn't sure what she felt when she looked at her husband. The judge called Elena to the witness stand. "Mrs. Corleone, you have the right to make a victim impact statement before this court sentences your husband. Would you like to proceed?" Elena looked at James. Then she looked at the judge. Then she looked at the packed courtroom full of reporters, FBI agents, and families of other victims. "Your Honor, 3 weeks ago, I thought I knew who I was married to. I thought I knew who I was. It turns out I was wrong about both." Elena's voice was clear and strong. She felt the same confidence she used to feel when she was presenting her companies to investors. James Corleone committed terrible crimes. He betrayed his country. He put my life and my family's life in danger. He manipulated me and lied to me for years. James looked down at his hands. Elena could see that her words were hurting him. "But Your Honor, I also want to say something else. In the warehouse 3 weeks ago, when Viktor Petrov was going to kill me, James tried to sacrifice his own life to save mine. That doesn't erase what he did wrong, but it shows me that somewhere inside the man who committed those crimes is still the man I fell in love with 5 years ago." Elena is being so gracious here. She's not excusing James's crimes, but she's acknowledging that people are complicated. Good people can do terrible things, and bad people can have moments of goodness. Elena continued, "Your Honor, I'm not going to ask you to be lenient with James because I love him. I'm not going to ask you to give him the maximum sentence because I'm angry with him. I'm going to ask you to give him the sentence that serves justice." Elena paused and looked directly at James. "But I am going to ask for one thing. James helped the FBI arrest over 200 criminals. He prevented terrorist attacks. He saved lives by cooperating with law enforcement. I think that should count for something." The judge nodded. "Mrs. Corleone, is there anything else you'd like to say?" Elena thought for a moment. "Yes, Your Honor. I want to say that James's crimes don't define me. What I did to stop those crimes doesn't define me either. I define me. And I choose to define myself as someone who believes in justice, forgiveness, and second chances." That's so powerful. Elena is taking control of her own narrative. She's not a victim, she's not a hero, she's just Elena, a woman who makes her own choices about who she wants to be. Elena stepped down from the witness stand. As she passed James's table, he reached out and gently touched her hand. "Elena, I'm so sorry. For everything." Elena looked into James's eyes. She saw genuine remorse there. She also saw love. "I know you are, James. And I forgive you." James started crying. "Elena, I don't deserve your forgiveness. You're right. You don't deserve it. But I'm giving it to you anyway. Not because of what you did, but because of who I choose to be." I'm literally crying right now. Elena is showing so much strength and maturity. She's forgiving James not because he deserves it, but because she wants to be the kind of person who can forgive. The judge sentenced James to 15 years in prison, with the possibility of parole in 10 years if he continued to cooperate with law enforcement. After the sentencing, Elena walked outside the courthouse with Maya. There were dozens of reporters waiting for her. "Mrs. Corleone, how do you feel about your husband's sentence?" "Mrs. Corleone, are you getting divorced?" "Mrs. Corleone, what are your plans now?" Elena stopped at the top of the courthouse steps and turned to face the cameras. "I want to make something clear," she said. "My name is Elena Zhao. I was Elena Zhao before I got married, and I'm Elena Zhao now. I'm not defined by my husband's crimes or by my relationship status." A reporter shouted, "Elena, what's next for you?" Elena smiled. "What's next is that I'm starting a new company. It's called Cyber Justice. We're going to build programs that help law enforcement agencies around the world catch criminals and terrorists." Another reporter, "Elena, are you staying married to James?" Elena paused. She had been dreading this question. "I'm not ready to answer that yet. James and I have a lot to work through. But whatever I decide, it will be my choice, made on my terms." Elena is handling these reporters like a boss. She's not letting anyone else define her story or pressure her into making decisions before she's ready. As Elena walked away from the courthouse, her phone rang. It was Agent Sarah Connor. Elena, I just wanted to let you know that we arrested the last 3 people on Viktor Petrov's network today. It's completely finished. You did it. We did it, Sarah. I couldn't have done any of this without you and your team. Elena, I also wanted to tell you something else. The CIA wants to meet with you. They're interested in your cyber justice idea. Elena felt a thrill of excitement. Really? Really? Elena, you have a chance to help law enforcement agencies all over the world. You could save thousands of lives. Elena thought about the scared woman who had been hiding in her office 3 weeks ago. That woman never could have imagined that she would end up working with the CIA to fight international crime. Sarah, set up the meeting. I'm ready. Elena is about to go from tech entrepreneur to international crime fighter. She's taking all the pain and trauma she went through and turning it into a force for good in the world. That evening, Elena sat in her apartment, the same apartment where Viktor Petrov had threatened her, where she had discovered James's betrayal, where she had planned her revenge. But everything felt different now. The apartment felt like hers. The life she was building felt like hers. Elena opened her laptop and started designing her first program for cyber justice. It would be a system that could detect money laundering in real time, making it impossible for criminals to hide their financial transactions. As she worked, Elena thought about Sophia. The young woman had entered the witness protection program and was starting college in California under a new name. She had sent Elena a card that said, "Thank you for showing me what courage looks like." Elena thought about her brother David, who had been promoted at the prosecutor's office and was now specializing in international crime cases. Elena thought about Maya, who had quit her PR job to become Elena's business partner at Cyber Justice. Elena thought about James, who was probably lying in his prison cell, wondering if his wife would ever visit him. Elena has built such an amazing support system. She went from being isolated and manipulated to being surrounded by people who love and respect her for who she really is. Elena's phone buzzed with a text message. It was from an unknown number. Elena, this is Sophia. I wanted you to know that I start classes next week. I'm studying computer science, just like you did. I want to help people the way you helped me. Thank you for everything. Your friend, Sophia. Elena smiled and typed back, Sophia, I'm so proud of you. You're going to change the world. Elena. Another text came in. This one was from Agent Connor. Elena, the meeting with the CIA is set for Monday at 10 a.m. They want to discuss a program that could prevent terrorist attacks before they happen. Are you interested? Elena didn't even hesitate before typing back, yes. Absolutely yes. Elena closed her laptop and walked to the window. She looked out at the city where she had been born, where she had built her first companies, where she had been manipulated and threatened, and where she had ultimately triumphed. This view from Elena's window represents so much more than just the city. It represents all the possibilities in her future, all the good she can do, all the lives she can save. Elena thought about the question reporters had asked her, what's next? The truth was, Elena didn't know exactly what was next. She didn't know if she would stay married to James or file for divorce. She didn't know if cyber justice would be successful or if working with the CIA would be dangerous. But for the first time in years, Elena wasn't afraid of not knowing. She was excited. Elena Zhao had spent 3 years being someone else's wife, someone else's victim, someone else's pawn. Now she was just Elena. A woman with brilliant ideas, loyal friends, and the power to make the world safer for everyone. And that felt like the greatest victory of all. Elena's transformation is complete. She went from scared victim to confident hero, from isolated wife to surrounded by true friends, from being controlled to being completely in control of her own life. Elena picked up her phone and called Maya. Maya, it's Elena. Are you free for dinner? I want to tell you about my meeting with the CIA on Monday. Elena, of course. Should I bring champagne? Elena laughed. Bring champagne. We're celebrating. What are we celebrating? Elena looked around her apartment, thought about her new company, thought about all the criminals she had helped arrest, thought about all the people she was going to help in the future. We're celebrating the fact that the best part of my life is just beginning. And that's the truth, guys. Elena's story isn't ending here. It's just beginning. She's proven that even when everything seems hopeless, even when the most powerful criminals in the world are against you, you can still win if you're brave enough to fight for what's right. The next part is going to wrap up all the emotional threads and show us Elena's beautiful new beginning. This has been such an incredible journey. 6 months later, Elena stood in the gleaming offices of Cyber Justice, looking out at the Manhattan skyline through floor-to-ceiling windows. Her company now employed 47 of the brightest cybersecurity experts in the world. On the walls were thank you letters from law enforcement agencies in 23 countries. But today was special for a different reason. Today, Elena was launching something that would change everything. I can't believe how far Elena has come. 6 months ago, she was trapped in an abusive situation. Now she's running a company that's literally making the world safer. Talk about a glow-up. Maya walked into Elena's office carrying 2 cups of coffee and a huge smile. Elena, are you ready for this? In 2 hours, You're going to announce the most advanced crime-fighting technology in history. Elena turned away from the window and smiled at her best friend and business partner. Maya, remember when we used to meet in that tiny cafe in Brooklyn, dreaming about changing the world? I remember you eating nothing but ramen noodles and telling me you were going to build something amazing. Well, I think we finally did it. Elena's new program was called Global Net. It was a system that connected law enforcement databases from 50 countries, allowing police to track international criminals in real time. Money launderers, arms dealers, human traffickers, none of them would be able to hide anymore. The program had already been tested by the FBI, CIA, and Interpol. In just 3 months of testing, GlobalNet had helped arrest over 300 criminals worldwide. Elena didn't just recover from her trauma, she turned it into her superpower. She used everything she learned about criminal networks to build the ultimate weapon against them. Elena, there's someone here to see you, Maya said. She's in conference room B. Elena walked down the hall and opened the door to conference room B. Sitting at the table was a young woman with short blonde hair, wearing a professional Navy suit. It took Elena a moment to recognize her. Sophia. The young woman stood up and smiled. Hello, hello, Elena. Elena couldn't believe it. Sophia looked completely different. Confident. Educated. Strong. Gone was the scared young woman who used to clean Elena's house. In her place was someone who looked like she could run her own company. Sophia. What are you doing here? How did you find me? Elena, I graduated from college last week. Computer science degree, just like you. I wanted to thank you in person for inspiring me to change my life. Elena felt tears starting to form in her eyes. Sophia, I'm so proud of you. You look amazing. Elena, I also came here to ask you for something. Anything. Sophia took a deep breath. I want to work for cyber justice. I want to help you catch criminals. I know more about how these organizations work than almost anyone, and I want to use that knowledge to stop them. Elena stared at Sophia. This young woman had risked her life to save Elena in that warehouse. She had betrayed her own uncle to do what was right, and now she wanted to dedicate her career to fighting the same kind of evil they had faced together. Sophia, are you sure? Working here could put you in danger. There are still people out there who worked for your uncle. Elena, hiding for the rest of my life isn't living. I want to fight back. I want to make sure no other young women get trapped in criminal organizations the way I was. Elena smiled. Sophia, welcome to cyber justice. This is so beautiful. Sophia has completely transformed her life. She went from being a victim of circumstances to choosing to be a hero. And now she and Elena are going to work together to save other people. 2 hours later, Elena stood at a podium in front of 200 reporters, government officials, and tech industry leaders. Behind her on a giant screen was the Cyber Justice logo. Ladies and gentlemen, 6 months ago, I was a woman who thought her biggest problem was her husband's infidelity. I had no idea that I was actually married to someone who was betraying our country and helping international criminals hurt innocent people. The audience was completely silent. Elena's story had been front-page news for months, but hearing her tell it herself was still powerful. I could have chosen to be a victim. I could have chosen to hide. I could have chosen to let other people handle the problem. Elena paused and looked out at the audience. In the front row, she saw Agent Sarah Connor smiling at her. In the second row, she saw her brother David, who had flown up from Washington just for this announcement. Instead, I chose to fight back. And today, I'm announcing something that will help law enforcement agencies around the world fight back too. Elena clicked a button on her remote, and the screen behind her showed a map of the world. Thousands of red dots appeared on the map, each representing a known criminal organization. This is GlobalNet, a system that connects law enforcement databases from 50 countries and tracks international criminal activity in real time. As Elena spoke, the red dots on the map began disappearing one by one. Since we began testing GlobalNet 3 months ago, we have helped arrest 347 international criminals. We have prevented 12 terrorist attacks. We have shut down money laundering operations worth over $5 billion. The audience erupted in applause. Elena felt a rush of pride and satisfaction. This was what she had been building toward her entire career. Elena is literally presenting the solution to international crime. She took her personal nightmare and turned it into a tool that's going to save thousands of lives. But GlobalNet is more than just a technology platform. It represents something bigger. It represents the idea that when good people work together, they can defeat even the most powerful evil. Elena clicked her remote again, and photos appeared on the screen. Photos of FBI agents, international police officers, cybersecurity experts, and government officials from dozens of countries. None of this would have been possible without the brave men and women who risk their lives every day to keep us safe. GlobalNet just gives them better tools to do their jobs. Another round of applause. Elena could see people in the audience wiping away tears. I also want to say something to anyone who might be watching this and feeling trapped in a dangerous situation. You are not powerless. You are not alone. And you are stronger than you think. Elena's voice got stronger as she continued. 6 months ago, I felt completely helpless. I thought I had no options. I thought I had no power. I was wrong. And if you're in a similar situation right now, you're wrong too. You have more power than you realize. Elena is using her platform to inspire other people who might be trapped in abusive or dangerous situations. She's showing them that it's possible to not just escape, but to thrive. Elena clicked her remote one final time. The screen showed the Cyber Justice logo along with a phone number and website. If you have information about international criminal activity, if you need help escaping a dangerous situation, or if you just want to learn more about how technology can fight crime, please contact us. We're here to help. As Elena walked off the stage, the audience gave her a standing ovation that lasted for 3 minutes. Later that evening, Elena hosted a celebration party for her team at a rooftop restaurant in Manhattan. The entire Cyber Justice staff was there, along with Agent Sarah Connor, Elena's brother David, Maya, and Sophia. As Elena looked around at all the people who had helped her build this new life, she felt overwhelmed with gratitude. Look at this incredible community Elena has built. She went from being isolated and manipulated to being surrounded by people who love and support her. This is what healing looks like. Elena, Agent Connor said, raising her glass of champagne, I want to make a toast. 6 months ago, you walked into the most dangerous situation I've ever seen a civilian face. You could have been killed. Instead, you saved the world. Everyone raised their glasses. To Elena Zhao, Sarah continued, who proved that one brilliant, brave woman can change everything. To Elena, everyone shouted. As Elena sipped her champagne, her phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at it and saw it was from an unknown number. Elena, this is James. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I wanted you to know that I watched your announcement on the news today. I am so proud of who you've become. You are the most amazing person I've ever known. J. Elena stared at the message for a long moment. Over the past 6 months, she had thought about James often. She had thought about visiting him in prison. She had thought about divorce papers. She had thought about forgiveness and love and whether it was possible to rebuild trust after such a complete betrayal. Elena typed back, James, thank you for the message. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm not ready to visit yet, but maybe someday. Take care of yourself. Elena. It wasn't forgiveness, but it wasn't hatred either. It was something in between. Something that felt healthy and honest. Elena is handling the James situation perfectly. She's not rushing into forgiveness, but she's not holding on to anger either. She's giving herself time to heal and figure out what she really wants. Elena, Maya said, appearing at her elbow, you look thoughtful. Everything okay? Elena put her phone away and smiled at her best friend. Everything is perfect, Maya. For the first time in my life, everything is exactly the way it should be. Elena looked around the rooftop party one more time. She saw Sophia laughing with some of the younger Cyber Justice employees. She saw David talking shop with Agent Connor. She saw her team of brilliant programmers and analysts, people who had chosen to work for her company because they believed in making the world safer. This is Elena's chosen family. These are the people who see her for who she really is and love her for it. This is what success really looks like, being surrounded by people who support your dreams and share your values. As the party wound down, Elena walked to the edge of the rooftop and looked out at the city lights. New York looked beautiful tonight, full of possibilities and promise. Elena thought about the scared woman who had hidden in her office 6 months ago, copying files and planning revenge. That woman could never have imagined that her worst nightmare would become the foundation for her greatest triumph. Elena's phone buzzed again. This time it was a news alert. Cyber Justice Global Net helps arrest major human trafficking ring in Southeast Asia. 47 victims rescued, 12 traffickers in custody. Elena smiled. Even now, while she was celebrating with friends, her program was out there saving lives. A few minutes later, Maya joined Elena at the edge of the rooftop. Elena, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you ever regret it? Do you ever wish you had just ignored what James was doing and stayed married to a rich man? Elena thought about the question seriously. She thought about her old life, the expensive penthouse, the designer clothes, the fancy charity galas. She thought about how empty and controlled that life had felt. Then she looked at the Cyber Justice Party behind her, at all the people who were working to make the world better. Maya, I wouldn't trade this life for anything. Not for all the money in the world. That's such a perfect answer. Elena had wealth and luxury before, but she was miserable. Now she has purpose and genuine relationships, and she's truly happy for the first time in years. Maya, do you remember what you asked me 6 months ago? You asked me what Elena Zhao was going to do next. I remember. Well, now I know the answer. Elena Zhao is going to keep building. She's going to keep fighting. She's going to keep proving that good people can win, even when everything seems hopeless. Elena paused and looked up at the stars. And Maya. She's going to do it with the best friends and the most amazing team in the world. Maya smiled and put her arm around Elena's shoulder. I can't wait to see what we build next. This ending is so perfect. Elena has found her purpose, her people, and her power. She's not just surviving anymore, she's thriving and helping others thrive too. As Elena looked out at the city where she had been born, where she had been betrayed, and where she had ultimately triumphed, she felt something she had never felt before. Complete peace. Elena Zhao had been through hell and come out stronger on the other side. She had faced the worst kind of evil and refused to let it break her. She had taken her pain and turned it into power. She had learned that revenge wasn't about destroying your enemies. True revenge was about building something so beautiful and powerful that it made their evil irrelevant. Elena had built a life filled with purpose, surrounded by people who loved her for who she truly was. She had created technology that was making the world safer for everyone. She had inspired other people to be brave and fight back against injustice. This is what victory looks like. Not just defeating your enemies, but creating something so positive and powerful that it outshines all the darkness they tried to bring into your life. Elena pulled out her phone and opened the CyberJustice app. On the screen, she could see real-time updates from law enforcement agencies around the world. A drug trafficking ring shut down in Colombia. A money laundering operation exposed in Switzerland. A terrorist cell arrested in London. Every notification represented lives saved. Families protected. Communities made safer. Elena smiled and put her phone away. Tomorrow, she would get up and continue building. Continue fighting. Continue proving that one person with courage and determination could change the world. But tonight, Elena just wanted to celebrate with the people she loved. Maya, Elena said, let's go back to the party. I want to hear Sophia's ideas about our new program for tracking online child predators. Elena, do you ever take a break from saving the world? Elena laughed. Maya, I spent 3 years taking a break from being myself. I'm never doing that again. As Elena walked back toward her friends and colleagues, toward the life she had built with her own hands and her own brilliant mind, she felt nothing but joy and anticipation for the future. The scared, trapped woman who had discovered her husband's affair was gone forever. In her place was Elena Zhao, technology visionary, international crime fighter, and living proof that sometimes the best revenge is simply becoming the most authentic, powerful version of yourself. And that, my friends, is how a woman goes from victim to victor. Elena didn't just survive, she transformed her pain into purpose and her trauma into triumph. She proved that no matter how hopeless things seem, you always have the power to rewrite your story. Thank you so much for joining me on Elena's incredible journey. If this story inspired you, if it made you believe in your own power to overcome challenges, please hit that subscribe button and share this with someone who needs to hear Elena's message. Remember, you are stronger than you think, and your best life is always just one brave decision away. What did you think of Elena's transformation? Drop a comment and tell me which part of her journey resonated with you the most. And remember, if Elena can go from billionaire's trapped wife to international hero, imagine what you can accomplish when you decide to take control of your own story.